a good and jolly morning to all. Our previous speaker mentioned the Pilipinas Contributum, and we are pleased to be part of this initiative. Let me jump right in and share some insights on promoting transformative leadership for inclusive value chains in agriculture. In 2007, in my first year of work at Jollibee Group Foundation, our president, Grace Tancatyong, directed us to help the smallholder farmers. She grew up in a farming community and has seen how those who are most hungry are actually those who produce our food. It was Grace's husband, our chairman, Tony Tancatyong, who conceived the idea. What if Jollibee Group, with its roster of restaurants nationwide, were to buy directly from the farmers so that they can have a regular and stable market to sell? After all, the biggest headache of farmers is finding where to sell their produce at a fair and reasonable price. Armed with the full support of both the foundation and the company, we began our journey to link smallholder farmers as company suppliers. Today, the onions, bell peppers, and other vegetables we use in Jollibee, Chowking, Greenwich, and Mang Inasal come directly from 17 farmer groups from places like Nueva Ecija, Ilocos, Laguna, Mindoro, Cebu, and Davao. But getting from that point in 2007 to where we are now, 14 years later, has not been smooth and easy. Like any transformation process, we went through birthing pains. We realized that the only way for the farmers to earn was to form clusters so they could scale up and bring down logistics costs. This meant each farmer had to bring their committed volume on the designated day. Otherwise, there is a risk their delivery will be rejected for being delayed or for failing to meet the required volume. From experience, many buyers actually worry about farmers changing their mind and selling their crops to others. Thankfully, in our over a decade of work, this has never happened, and we owe that to the collective leadership that has made this endeavor challenging and tiring, but fruitful and meaningful. Whenever I hear the word leadership, in my mind, I see four things: the leader, the follower, the relationship between them, and the context or environment they are in. In an organization, the boss is often considered the leader and the subordinates are the followers. And their relationships center on how the orders and tasks given by the boss are carried out by the followers. The nature of the leadership between the boss and the subordinate changes with the context. In the military, the hierarchy relationship demands strict obedience to command. In the classroom, teacher has to cultivate a nurturing relationship that motivates learners. Among couples, it is different. Nowadays, the center of power or authority is no longer clear-cut. Sometimes the wife decides, sometimes the husband does. These examples demonstrate that first, leadership is distinct from the leader or the person holding a position of formal of power or authority. Leadership is an activity, a social process between and among people. It depicts action. And the good news is, it is accessible to anyone. You do not need a job nor a title to perform acts of leadership. Lastly, the context determines the right leadership approach in any situation, and there is no one-size-fits-all approach. That's why we need to develop our leadership competencies. I will describe our leadership approach at the foundation as about promoting an influence relationship among partners who are mutually aspiring for inclusive value chains and working collaboratively to address the adaptive challenges around it. This description is inspired by Joseph Ross in his book Leadership for the 21st Century. And allow me to unpack its elements. First, it is a relationship based on influence, because no one, not even the farmer, was forced to be part of the process. We present to prospective partners such as local government, microfinance institutions, and cooperatives what we hope to accomplish. If they express interest, we hold several conversations to shape our mutual goals as well as the practices we will adopt. One of these practices is precisely that no one will be forced to participate. And for us, the true test of success is having farmers join willingly because they see and feel the value of the partnership. And that is what we aim for: mutual aspiration to transform the value chain and in the process, transform the farmers into entrepreneurs. This involves farmer leaders who are determined to improve the lives not only of their families but also their communities. Mayors who believe that when farmers thrive, the community also prospers. Financing institutions that extend services beyond credit so that farmers can effectively utilize the funds provided to them. At the center of this convergence is the vision of a flourishing rural economy. When we started, we knew that the challenge of low income and productivity has plagued farmers for decades. The problem is complex and consists of both technical and adaptive challenges. Technical challenges are problems that are important but have available solutions based on current know-how. Oftentimes, this can be resolved by bringing in experts. And for example, science can tell us what crops are suited to which climatic and social soil conditions, or how to manage different kinds of pests. Adaptive challenges, on the other hand, require more than expertise. They can only be addressed by changing people's priorities, beliefs, and habits. Examples are climate change and, of course, the COVID pandemic. In our case, it was the mistrust. For years, corporate buyers have experienced farmers pole vaulting or not fulfilling their commitments. And this has made them very wary of dealing with farmers directly. They would rather transact with traders and middlemen, even at a higher cost, as long as they are sure to receive the volume that they need. Farmers too were suspicious of corporations. They could not imagine why a multinational company will take interest and reach out to them. We braced ourselves for the fact that getting the farmers to deliver to Jollibee Group could not be addressed simply by getting the farmers and the purchasing group to sit down and negotiate a contract. We organized several dialogues in order for the farmers and the company to understand each other's views and to learn to trust one another. Our supply chain and quality management teams orient the farmers while being careful to simplify technical terms and concepts. Among our partners, one mayor had to shell out her personal funds so that the farmers cooperative could make a down payment for cold storage rental while their loans were in process. Conflict among farmers would also arise, and our partners on the ground had to skillfully navigate those dynamics. We and our partners had to be agile and constantly adjust not only our programs and processes, but also our beliefs and mindsets. After all, it has been said that we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Despite all this, we still dealt with tough situations. I remember a heartbreaking conversation with a group of farmers from southern Philippines who wanted to sell their local lemons to Jollibee. We did studies on logistics and shelf life extension, but without better farm to market infrastructure, we just could not make it a viable proposition. We also had an instance when delivery was rejected because the farmers failed to follow quality protocols. Good thing they were trained to identify ahead other trading posts where they could bring their produce. Through the years, we've come to accept that despite our best intentions and efforts, some things are just beyond us. All we can do is to continue to influence other stakeholders to join us in this advocacy. What sustained us all these years was having mechanisms to regularly observe events that unfold, diagnose problems, and develop experiments to address them quickly and to quickly learn from the experiments. We have regular coaching sessions with farmer leaders and engage partners in reflective conversations. To manage risk, we always start with one crop and with a small volume for test delivery, gradually increasing from there. Most importantly, we embedded leadership development in our programs so that farmers can gain the confidence to work better with one another and with their partners. For example, our food safety standards required farmers to be certified in Good Agriculture Practice or GAP. At that time, not a lot of farmers were familiar with GAP or let alone willing to be certified in it. Now, 94% of the farmer groups supplying Jollibee Group are GAP certified, and we owe it to the farmer leaders who influenced their fellow members to go through the rigorous process of recording their practices. I want to end with this photo of our President, Grace, with some of the farmer leaders who are part of our inclusive value chain. When they first met her, they were very shy, hardly spoke, and could not look at her in the eye. Today, they have earned the right and the confidence to be called entrepreneurs. From their earnings, they have built their homes, sent their children to school, and moreover, they teach other farmers how to organize and supply companies and restaurants. Indeed, the success of this transformation depended not only on what we did or how we did it, but also in tapping that inner leadership place where everything emanated from. What Bill O'Brien, the late CEO of Hanover Insurance, said is true. The success of an intervention depends on the interior condition of the intervener. We are proud of this cadre of farmer entrepreneurs and their network of support institutions who, as change agents, continue to drive the transformation in their communities. These are among the things that give us hope for a brighter future in Philippine agriculture. Maraming salamat po.